Hello and welcome to the Braincare Podcast. I'm back with entrepreneur and wellness pro Adrienne Herbert, who is here to talk all about the Power Hour and how it can have an impact on your daily habits, routines, and brain care. Adrienne, welcome back. Love to chase up a little bit just now on the actual Power Hour itself, on wellness and on habits. So getting straight into it, what is your personal Power Hour? What do you do in your personal Power Hour?
Okay, yes, my power hour is the first hour. It is non-negotiable. And what I do at the moment is my alarm goes off. I have my phone downstairs plugged in the kitchen. So it's not my phone, it's my alarm. My alarm goes off. I get up, I go into the bathroom and I put cold water on my face. And then I just do some nasal breathing. And it's not super long, it's not super structured. I just do some nasal breathing to get some oxygen in. And whilst I'm doing that breathing pattern, I will just think, firstly, like, what day is it? What am I doing today? What's coming up? What am I going to do today? What's in my schedule? And I might pick a word or a phrase or something that I've listened to, something that I want to kind of take with me in my mind before I start the day. Then I'll go downstairs and I'll either get my kit on, get my shoes, lace up and head out and go for a run. Or at the moment, I will roll out the mat and I'll do stretching, mobility. It's not a structured following this sequence in a specific routine, but it's always challenging upper body, core, lower body. I'll break a sweat a little bit, stretch a lot, breathe a lot. And then in the shower, and then I'll probably, check in. My son will probably be awake by that point. So once I hear that he's up, he'll come down. And the day can change after that. But that's usually the first hour.
And what time is that?
It's 5:30. So it's between 5:30 and 6:30. And that seems to be the window of time that works best for me.
Have you read The Miracle Morning?
I have read Miracle Morning. And honestly, I think...
Feels very Miracle Morning.
Yeah, people are challenging me right now on this time. They're like, why does it have to be 5:30? Can't it be 7? I do advocate for it being early, which is not always popular. It's not always what people want to hear, but I really, truly, because of, it's impacted my life so profoundly. I really think if people could commit and give it a good try for a long time, get to bed a bit earlier, quality sleep, then honestly, it's a game changer. It really is.
What time do you go to sleep then?
So I go to bed between 9:30 and 10, which again, for some people just seems so early, but I love it. The feeling in the morning that people talk about when they're like, oh, I can't get out of bed. It's comfortable, this and that. I'm like, you can have that same feeling just going to bed early. I get into bed and I'm like, oh, it's so comfortable and I can relax and it's so nice. I'm like, why are people tired? Always saying how tired they are. I just want to have this big sign somewhere that just says, go to bed, because everyone's just moaning about how tired they are, drinking coffee. Oh, Adrienne, I can't get up early and do Power Hour. I wish I had more time. And I'm like, go to bed. It's almost like I feel like it's this secret that people don't know. You can go to bed early.
Spot on. Okay, what does wellness mean to you? I know it's a very broad term, but it means different things to different people. So let's hear your version.
Oh, this is a really difficult question because all I'm thinking of initially is what wellness doesn't mean. So I might start there. Yeah, I might start there. So I think what wellness doesn't mean, because I've worked in the fitness and wellness space for almost a decade, is the commodity, commercialized, drink a green juice, have expensive leggings, go to a boutique studio. That's not wellness. So I feel like I can see straight away like what wellness isn't. And I think it's often what is sold to people, I don't know, a magic food thing or a specific, time that you can, time restriction or diet, or there's all of these things now that I think we're clubbing into wellness so that we can sell it, basically, so that we can make a product or a service that we can say to people, pay money for this because this is wellness. When actually, I guess what wellness is it's everything. It's how we live. It's how we feel. It's how we move, how we communicate, how we sleep, how we feel. Do we feel well? Do we sleep well? Do we look well? I think wellness is actually everything. Everything. That's what wellness is. It's everything. Are you well or not?
Wellness is everything but the things that you were saying it's not.
Yes. Is that a terrible answer?
No, I like it. Look, it is the answer, so we're going to stick to it. Also, not asking for the perfect polished answer, just wanted to know what it sounded like to you. It's helpful for people. Okay, what framework do you use to achieve everything you want in life, creating the space that you need to thrive and feel good inside? And I guess the reason that I'm asking this is because, as we touched on in our previous conversation, you're not advocating for this zenny space, need my space, whatever. Like, you're very ambitious and you need to find the space for wellness. So that doesn't just accidentally happen. That's clearly a process for a framework. So talk us through that.
Yes, you're right. It's intentional. And as you said in our previous conversation, we touched on some of the reasons that I really value wellness and living well and feeling well, and also life longevity, and hoping to be able to do these things that I want to do. As you mentioned, I have a long list of ambitions that I want to do. I can't do them all right now. It might take time. So I need to be able to feel good for long enough to be able to do all the things I want to do, run the races, travel to the countries, write the books, meet the people. I've got a lot to do. So I need to feel good and I need to be able to do them. So I think how it works in terms of a framework and what that looks like is prioritization, not being busy. I think busyness is almost become a badge of honor. People want to, if you're busy, it means you're in demand. If you're busy, it means you're productive. If you're busy, you must be doing great things. When in reality, I think the opposite is true. So that is something I'm striving for, is to do less so that I can live more. I don't want to be busy. I don't want to be back to back in the schedule. That for me is not how I will thrive. So what it looks like is having my power hour, sticking to that, having routine and having structure and discipline. I don't necessarily want to run every single day that I do run, but I'm disciplined. I apply I know that I have a plan, and I know that the miles or what I need to do to get to the start line of a race or the finish line of a race. So I'm quite diligent when it comes to that. I also know that I need the recovery. It needs as much focus as the training. So whether that's literally just giving the example of a physical, training for an endurance event, recovery doesn't just mean rest day. It doesn't just mean sports massage or sleep. It means all of it. Recovering my adrenal glands, my cortisol levels, recovery in every sense, which is, sleep, white space, mindfulness, breath work, actually allowing every one of my systems to recover so that when I go into the next thing, whether that's a busy day, whether that's doing something with my son, whether that's working a creative project where I really have to just sit and kick the tires on an idea, I need to be able to give 100. I need to be able to, recover in the same way, fill myself up, and you can't give what you don't have. So it constantly has to be this battle, especially for me in terms of prioritization, of saying, prioritize the sleep, prioritize the recovery, prioritize listening and learning, because that's something that gives me more energy than it takes, is to listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks. So trying to balance the two. I'm certainly not perfect. I can't say that I hit the perfect balance every single day, but I just aim for I'd say I'm aiming for an 80% success rate, 80-20.
80-20, the magical rule.
Yeah.
Let's talk about habits then. So habits is a topic I'm fascinated by. It's been at the core principle of everything that we've built at Height, helping our tribe build healthy habits every single day so that they don't have to panic and then correct course with some drastic action of extremes later. Mm-hmm. And I know that you're a bit of a whiz when it comes to helping build healthy habits. So give us some of your knowledge bombs and education on how you've done it.
Well, firstly, I'd say, again, reading and research. The research on habits is vast. Some people say it takes 30 days to create a new habit. Some people say the magic number is 100. Some people say that your habits will always change, and depending on your personality type and the way you make decisions and your environment, your habits will always change. So there's no real definitive answer. And it's kind of, I think that was what I wanted to express in the habits chapter of my book, is I said, it takes what it takes. What it takes for me might be different to what it takes for someone else. But there are some kind of key pillars. And so one would be assess and reflect. Like, assess what are your current habits, which ones are useful, which ones are non-useful, which ones are, and by useful and non-useful, the way I define that is a useful habit is taking me closer towards a goal, or it's aiding me in and giving me the outcome the desired outcome. And a non-useful habit is doing the opposite. So it's a distraction, or it's holding me back, or it's keeping me stuck. So until you actually assess what they are, that's the first place you need to start. Because often, for example, if you say what we say we do isn't always what we actually do. So if I said to you how many, for some people, if you ask them how many units of alcohol they drink in a week, they might say, oh, not really that much. I don't really drink that much, not that many. But then a dietitian says, can you give me a food diary? And then they add it up throughout the week. And it's like, oh, actually, it's a lot. So until you assess and reflect, you might not actually see what those useful and non-useful habits are. So once you assess, like, have a look at it, maybe you need to cross a few off, maybe you need to Marie Kondo it a bit and say, you know what, less is more. Let me focus and highlight the things you want to do more of. After that, I'd say in terms of practical things, when it comes to building habits, you need to set yourself up for success. You need to give yourself, small rewards as you go. You need to have a finish line that is close and a finish line that is far. So I try to hold both in my mind. It's like, what are the habits that are taking me towards that end goal, that far away finish line that feels overwhelming? And what are the small wins today, this week, this month, this year that are going to mean that I get there? Because I often say with habits, what we do sometimes really doesn't matter. What we do most of the time ultimately will determine and will define what we achieve and the end outcome. So
A habit becomes you.
Absolutely. And I think that is in all areas of our life, career, health. Like, what are you becoming? Your habits are, you are becoming something. And if you're not intentional about what that is, then, as you said, you get to a kind of crossroads of, well, what do I do now? So yeah, think small goals and big goals kind of at the same time, hold both in your mind. And then the last thing I'd probably say when it comes to habits is the really simple stuff, which I think you've probably heard again and again and again, but it's really true, is that you need to add friction to make the non-desirable habit, the thing that you don't want to do. You have to add some friction to make it hard for yourself, because we're human beings. Just relying on willpower and just relying on choice and decisions, we get decision fatigue. We make so many decisions and choices in a day. You need to, almost like I said at the start, set yourself up for success. Take those habits or the things you want to change, put them out of sight, put them far away, whether it is the phone, whether it is the wine, whether it is a negative relationship, a friend, someone who just brings you down and criticizes you all the time. Get away from those things, basically put some space between you and the non-useful habit.
That is spot on. Thank you. What are your 3 top takeaways then for listeners who want to create their own power hour?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously build healthy habits within that and then achieve more without actually compromising their ambition.
Yes. Oh, I like that, not compromising your ambition. So my 3 top tips if you're going to start a power hour is, number 1, eliminate distractions. It's very hard in the world that we live in right now, but try to eliminate distractions. Make the power hour a non-negotiable time where you can focus. Whatever that environment is for you, cultivate an environment where you can focus. Tip number 2, when it comes to creating your power hour, would be talk about it, actually. Talk about it, share it, speak it. Words have power. Communicate with people, if you live with them, that it's important to you and that you're going to be doing that and that they should support you. Not roll their eyes, not say, oh, what thing are you starting now? You listen to a podcast, now you're doing this. Yes, I am. And I'm going to give it 100% and I need you to support me. So talk about it. Even talking about it as well is going to give you a bit more accountability to doing it. So that would be number 2. And number 3 would be, manage your expectations. I mentioned that 80-20. What is your expectation and what do you want to get out of having a power hour? Because if you want 100% success rate, most things in life that we do not give us 100% success rate, but there's still value and merit in doing them anyway. So manage your expectation, decide what you want to get out of it. Maybe you just do a power hour 1 day a week, maybe 4 days, 5 days. You choose your rules, your life, but make it work for you and make it clear why you want to do it.
That was spot on. And I think like a final point that I would just make to that is something that I found helpful in my life over the last few years is something we touched on earlier, which is, not this assumption that you've heard it all before. Quite often you have. Like, I read so many what would be described self-help books, listen to all the self-help podcasts, all the health podcasts. Everyone is saying the same thing all the time in different ways and articulations. And that is exactly the point, because the stuff building any habit, improving at all, takes real dedication and work and consistency. So the more you're reminded of it from different voices, interventions from people, the more valuable it is, the more likely it sticks. So I guess very logical way to conclude is definitely listen to the Power Hour, definitely get the Power Hour, and follow Adrienne on social, which you can do where?
You can do that on Instagram, you can do that on Twitter, and adriennelondon.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adrienne. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.